Welcome to Holy Heartbeats. My name is Nathan, and I narrate Christ-centered testimonies from all over the world. These testimonies include rapture and end-times visions, near-death experiences, encounters with angels and demons, God, Jesus, and even Satan himself. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you are fond of listening to these types of stories, and let me know what you think about these testimonies in the comments section below. Furthermore, for those who want to share their personal testimonies, visions, and revelations from God, you can send us your own stories at holyheartbeat7@gmail.com. I will be very honored to read your testimony, which may inspire, edify, and encourage a lot of people in their personal journey of faith with the Lord Jesus Christ. The Disney Bloodline, Part 4. Disney's role in wartime America and Illuminati influence. After the United States entered World War II, Disney Productions became an integral part of the American military establishment. Remarkably, the military moved into the Disney studios the day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, leading some to speculate that Disney had already aligned with the power structure before the war began. During the conflict, Disney produced military films and cartoons designed to educate the armed forces and rally public support. Among these projects was the film series Why We Fight, along with propaganda films for the Allies and educational productions for the Internal Revenue Service to encourage tax compliance. Some Disney films were highly classified, addressing secret military weapons or psychological tactics. For instance, Army Psychotherapy explored fear and its induction, while Prostitution and the War tackled the challenges of wartime morality. Another film portrayed a carrier pigeon evading German forces, underscoring the resourcefulness of American ingenuity. In 1940, Disney released two full-length animated features, Pinocchio and Fantasia. Both would later be utilized in Illuminati mind control programming. Fantasia paired Schubert's sacred Ave Maria with the profane Night on Bald Mountain, alongside 6 other classical pieces. While the film was a commercial flop, its utility as a programming tool was unparalleled. The complex mechanisms of its use for mind control are detailed later in this work to avoid disrupting the chapter's flow. Pinocchio has been re-released 9 times, further embedding its themes in popular culture. Subsequent full-length Disney films include The Three Caballeros, 1945, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, 1949, Cinderella, 1950, Treasure Island, 1950, Alice in Wonderland, 1951, The Story of Robin Hood and His Merry Men, 1952, Peter Pan, 1953, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, 1954, and Sleeping Beauty, 1959. These films were reportedly adapted by the Illuminati and intelligence agencies for use in their programming, exploiting the fantasy worlds they created to serve as scripts for mind control. Disney's approach to animal nature documentaries furthered another agenda, anthropomorphizing animals to elevate their status while subtly dehumanizing people. This tactic aligned with the Illuminati's broader plans. Notably, Disney expressed great interest in creating a cartoon set to Claude Debussy's Clair de Lune. Although completed, it was never released to the public. Initially intended for Fantasia, the piece was cut due to the film's length. Plans to include it in Make Mine music also fell through, with Blue Bayou used instead. Fantasia did include Le Sacre du Printemps, The Rite of Spring, by Igor Stravinsky, a composition originally written as a pagan ritual where a virgin sacrifices herself through dance. Disney reportedly pressured Stravinsky into allowing the piece's use, with threats of proceeding without permission. The Huxley brothers, Aldous and Julian, also became involved in the production of Fantasia. Both are well-known figures in conspiracy circles for their connections to globalist agendas. By the 1940s and 1950s, the Illuminati began using Disney's Alice in Wonderland and the Wizard of Oz films as foundational tools in their total mind control programming. Alice in Wonderland had originally been adapted by William Cameron Menzies, who also directed Freemason H.G. Wells's film Things to Come, A Vision of the New World Order, in 1936. In 1944, Illuminati kingpin William Randolph Hearst, along with others, funded the Motion Picture Alliance, where Walt Disney served as a co-founder and its first vice president. By the early 1950s, Disney shifted focus from animated features to other endeavors, including true-life adventures, television programming, and the creation of Disneyland. Disney's first true-life adventure, Seal Island, premiered on May 4, 1949, earning Walt an Oscar. Filmed by Alfred and Elma Malott in Alaska's Pribilof Islands, the project was assembled by James Alger. In 1952, Walt created the corporation Retlaw, his name spelled backward, a move that Roy Disney and his family perceived as an attempt to exclude them financially. In 1954, Walt Disney entered into an agreement with ABC, marking another pivotal chapter in his expanding empire. Disney's financial ties, secret projects, and wholesome image. ABC made a significant financial commitment to the development of Disneyland, directly investing $500,000 and guaranteeing $4.5 million in loans. This arrangement gave ABC one-third ownership of Disneyland. In return, Walt Disney agreed to produce a regular television series for ABC. Notably, ABC's president, Leonard Goldenstein, was a close associate of Ronald Reagan. On July 13, 1955, Walt and Lillian Disney attempted to celebrate their 30th wedding anniversary at a park and restaurant. The event took an embarrassing turn when Walt became too intoxicated to deliver a speech, resorting instead to blowing noisemakers into the microphone before Lillian quickly removed him from view. In 1961, Walt Disney bought out ABC's investment, labeled by some as Paramount, for $7.5 million in cash and notes. On July 31, 1995, Disney merged with Capital Cities ABC, placing Disney in nominal control. However, Capital Cities was long suspected of being a CIA front company, embedding Disney further within the agency's network, a relationship that had reportedly existed throughout the CIA's history. The Illuminati-controlled corporations Coca-Cola and Johnson & Johnson became sponsors of Disney's early television programs. On July 3, 1957, the Wall Street Journal reported that Atlas Corporation had acquired a 26% interest in Walt Disney Productions. Behind the scenes, Walt worked quietly with consultants to develop Disneyland, though his brother and nephew initially opposed the project. Eventually, they persuaded Walt to sign over Disneyland, Inc. to Walt Disney Productions. Walt retained 17.25% of the holdings, while the remaining shares were distributed among other parties. One of the key figures in financing Disneyland was Kintner, the executive vice president of ABC. Walt also sought guidance from the Illuminati-linked Stanford Research Institute to determine the best location for the park. The construction of Disneyland and Walt Disney World was overseen by retired Navy Admiral Joe Fowler. Admirals, deeply integrated into the power structure, are privy to daily briefings and are often under Illuminati influence. In recent years, there have been efforts to remove admirals not loyal to the Illuminati. Morgan Evans, potentially connected to the influential Morgan family, created the spectacular landscapes for Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and Epcot in Florida. According to CIA informants opposing the New World Order, CIA contractors were involved in building underground tunnels beneath Disney World in 1977. These contractors, sworn to secrecy, were given limited information about the project's purpose. The construction required an above-top secret clearance and resulted in a major programming center beneath Lake Holden. The tunnels, reinforced with steel and concrete, were reportedly used for trauma-based mind control programming. Lake Holden, located near the Orlando International Airport and Interstate 4, lies approximately 12 miles from Disney World. Despite strict secrecy measures, numerous lawsuits exposed the programming tunnels, eventually leading to the dismantling of the underground center. The tunnels were later repurposed into publicly accessible maintenance and casting levels. During the peak of the programming center's operations, military and intelligence personnel worked in sophisticated underground offices equipped with advanced tools for programming. To protect these operations, Disney maintained tight security. The parks were granted extensive authority and employed undercover security personnel disguised as tourists to monitor employees. Minor infractions, such as discussing personal issues, could result in immediate termination. For instance, one employee with a decade of service was fired after a spy overheard him discussing his divorce, a topic deemed inconsistent with Disney's wholesome image. Criticism of Disney's stringent security measures occasionally surfaced, as exemplified by a November 4, 1996 article in the Napa Valley Register titled, "Critics of Disneyland Say Security Abusive Inside Magic Kingdom." UCLA law professor David Sklansky remarked, "One of the major problems we have is nobody really knows what they are doing. How often they stop, interrogate, or search people. They are not subject to the same sort of regulatory controls." Disney's amusement parks, featuring areas such as Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, and Adventureland, became global sensations celebrated for their clean, family-friendly image. This pristine reputation was meticulously maintained with the support of the world's elite. For decades, the global media upheld Disney's wholesome image, in stark contrast to their attacks on other family-oriented endeavors like homeschooling and phonics-based reading education. While Disney's public image projected moral conservatism, there were exceptions. For instance, an employee who used hypnosis to manipulate female coworkers was quietly covered up. As media scholar John L. Hulteng observed in The Messenger's Motives, the greatest impact the media have on the formation or change of public opinion is in terms of impressions built up over a long period. Disney's calculated cultivation of its image exemplifies this principle. The evolution of Disney's image and controversial attractions. The wholesome image of Disney is one that has been carefully cultivated over decades. However, beneath this facade lies a legacy intertwined with themes of world citizenship, witchcraft, humanism, and idolatry. These undertones have been subtly perpetuated for so long that they predate the birth of many of this author's readers. Few people associate movies like Consenting Adults or The Corpse Had a Familiar Face with Disney. When Disney began producing more adult films, it strategically distanced its core brand by creating the Touchstone Films label. This sleight of hand ensured that films like Splash, which featured suggestive imagery, were not directly linked to Disney productions. To further support distribution, Disney established Hollywood Pictures, initially staffed by Disney personnel, though the two labels eventually operated independently. On October 27, 1954, Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color debuted on television, celebrating Disney's cinematic achievements. The title was significant. According to an Illuminati mind control programmer, Disney deliberately selected specific colors and color combinations for mind control programming purposes. The show aired under various names, including Disneyland, for 22 years. In 1955, Walt Disney brought Mickey Mouse to life by launching the Mickey Mouse Club, a daily television show featuring 24 child performers called Mouseketeers. The iconic Mickey Mouse ears became a coveted symbol among children, many of whom were exposed to total mind control programming associated with Mickey Mouse. Disney even used the Mouseketeers to act in the unreleased Oz-inspired movie Rainbow Road to Oz. Adults who grew up during this era still hold on to Mickey Mouse-themed memorabilia, vividly recalling show segments like Spin and Marty and the unforgettable Mickey Mouse theme song. Despite the show's perfect portrayal of Mickey Mouse, the term Mickey Mouse paradoxically became a synonym for something silly or amateurish, as evidenced by phrases like, "He Mickey Moused it together." On January 30, 1957, Disney aired All About Magic, a television show featuring a magic mirror explaining the concept of magic and incorporating a bibbidi-bobbidi-boo sequence. 2 years later, Disney purchased 8 small submarines for $250,000 from Todd Shipyards. when ABC rejected Walt Disney's proposal for a television series centered on a magical ring that transforms a boy into a dog, a concept linked to mind control programming. Walt left ABC for NBC. He adapted the storyline into the film The Shaggy Dog. In the early 1960s, Walt and his brother Roy discreetly scouted locations on the East Coast for a new Disney park. Walt passed away in 1966, leaving Roy to complete the project. Starting in 1964, Disney purchased 30,000 acres near Orlando, Florida, west of NASA's Cape Kennedy, at $200 per acre. The land was acquired under fake names and with cash payments, with sellers sworn to secrecy. In 1971, Walt Disney World opened to the public. On October 29, 1971, Bob Hope and other celebrities participated in the televised grand opening. By October 12, 1995, Disney World had welcomed over 500 million visitors. Situated on 27,400 acres in Orlando, the park includes the Epcot Center, often referred to as simply Epcot. Epcot, originally standing for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, was envisioned as a city with underground roads and tunnels. After Walt's death, the concept was modified into a theme park. The park often hosts over 48,000 visitors in a single day. Guests can purchase 5-day World Hopper passes, granting access to multiple attractions over a 7-day period, or annual passports for unlimited entry throughout the year. Despite its appeal, many visitors leave Disney World exhausted and disillusioned after enduring long lines in the Florida heat. While some attractions receive praise, others, such as Snow White's Adventures, terrify younger children with their eerie themes. One notorious attraction, Alien Encounter, invites visitors to witness a demonstration of interplanetary teleportation that malfunctions, unleashing a terrifying alien into the audience. The attraction features graphic imagery, including a creature being fried, deformed, and ultimately ejected into space, screaming. Visitor reactions to Alien Encounter have been polarizing. Alien Encounter is one of those rides I can say I've seen and that I have no intention of ever doing again. In fact, parents who take children under the age of 6 should be brought up on child abuse. Woman, Michigan. Alien Encounter was the worst experience for my 10-year-old and almost every child in there. The attraction Alien Encounter begins innocently enough during its pre-show, but the actual experience is disastrous for children. One mother recounted, "My daughter screamed and cried in terror throughout it. I thought the Disney warnings were vague and inaccurate. When we left, there wasn't a single child with dry eyes. Even sturdy-looking 12-year-old boys were crying. I think an age requirement of 13 or 14 would be more appropriate. I spoke to a few adults, and we even agreed that the special effects were extremely unpleasant for us. This show is not a Disney family experience. It's atrocious." A mother from Phillipsburg, NJ. Another visitor commented, "We did go to Alien Encounter. The pre-show is deceiving. It kind of lulls you into thinking, this isn't so bad." When the main part started, I admit the experience gave me the absolute heebie-jeebies. I am never doing that presentation again. It was way too intense for me, and I'm now 27 years old. From a family in Laurel, MD. Michael Eisner, the president of the Walt Disney Company, initially rejected Alien Encounter for not being scary enough during its development. One wonders what he would have considered acceptable. Another example of Disney's darker undertones is the Disneyland attraction Snow White's Adventures, one of the company's dark rides. After receiving complaints about its frightening content, Disney added a warning sign featuring the witch and later renamed the ride Snow White's Scary Adventures in 1983. Interestingly, when the original film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered, England restricted it for viewers under 16 unless accompanied by an adult due to its frightening scenes. This shift in societal tolerance reflects how perceptions of appropriate content have evolved over time. Schools in Florida and California often organize field trips to Disney attractions, particularly to Epcot, which receives tens of thousands of student visitors during March, September, and October. High schools use Disney locations for proms and senior nights, while couples frequently opt for Disney facilities for their weddings. Modern Bride once ranked Orlando as the top honeymoon destination globally. Disney offers elaborate fairy tale wedding packages, which include ceremonies held on a pavilion in the Seven Seas Lagoon, framed by the Cinderella Castle. Couples can enhance their themed celebrations with a fantasy reception based on Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin. Brides may arrive at Cinderella's ball in a glass carriage drawn by 6 white ponies, accompanied by costumed fairy tale characters. Even dessert is thematically designed, with servings in white chocolate slippers. One popular after-dark show is Illuminations, featuring music, fireworks, erupting fountains, special lighting, and laser technology at the World Showcase Lagoon. Another unique attraction, Cranium Command, located in Epcot's Wonders of Life Pavilion, places guests in a theater that simulates the command center of a boy's brain. Disney has also produced content outside its typical family-friendly fare. In 1980, the company released The Devil and Max Devlin, which performed poorly at the box office. By 1984, Roy E. Disney sought financial support from Michael Milken, a financier known for junk bonds. Disney later acquired MGM's rights to the Leo the Lion logo and material from The Wizard of Oz. In subsequent years, Disney released a modern remake of Alice in Wonderland, styled similarly to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. In the 1990s, Illuminati-controlled companies, such as Nestlé, prominently promoted Disney content. Nestlé's association with Disney extended to its chocolate bars, reinforcing their partnership. Meanwhile, Disney expanded its influence by creating a residential community called Celebration in 1996. Located on Disney property, Celebration was designed as a self-contained town for 20,000 residents, complete with schools, theaters, a fiber optic information network, and other modern amenities. Disney's connections to prominent figures. Over the years, Disney's close associations have been revealing. The movie The Happiest Millionaire exemplifies Disney's attitude toward Illuminati bloodlines. The film portrays the life of Anthony J. Drexel Biddle and Angie Duke, and is loosely based on a book by Cordelia Drexel Biddle about the Biddle family. Readers familiar with elite American families may recognize these names and their historical significance. X. Atencio. X. Atencio, whose full name was Xavier Atencio, was affectionately nicknamed X. He played a significant role in the creation of Disneyland's Haunted Mansion while working with WED Enterprises. Atencio joined Disney in 1938 as an assistant animator for the groundbreaking film Fantasia. Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty, born in 1937 in Virginia, is a member of the prominent Beatty family and starred in Disney's Dick Tracy. This film incorporated a distinctive use of color, which some have linked to the color programming techniques of mind control. Reports suggest that certain individuals subjected to total mind control have been programmed using elements from the Dick Tracy movie to perform specific tasks, such as tracking and eliminating targets. Warren's sister, Shirley MacLaine, is also a figure of note. Behind her public persona lies a controversial history. Her father, a professor, was reportedly a CIA asset, and she herself was allegedly used by the CIA as a covert operative and sex slave. Her connections in the entertainment industry grew due to strategic relationships with influential individuals. MacLaine's marriage to a man in the National Security Agency lasted nearly 2 decades. Her adopted name, MacLaine, is said to reference McLean, Virginia, a hub for CIA activity where she was allegedly programmed. She was reportedly involved in a CIA operation in Australia to compromise Andrew Peacock, a member of Parliament, through seduction, which aided the establishment of the Nugan Hand Bank for illicit activities. MacLaine has ties to Satanist Stephen Nance, who has influenced some of her teachings, and Lowell McGovern, who has contributed to her published material. Many mind-controlled individuals programmed by the CIA have been led to idolize Shirley MacLaine. One such example is Krista Tilton, a woman from Oklahoma who identified herself as a born-again Christian, but felt an unexplained pull toward MacLaine. Under hypnosis, Krista revealed memories of programming sessions and identified a government agent, John Wallace, as someone closely monitoring her. Her experiences, including supposed alien abductions, have been documented and photographed by government agents. Krista is one of many victims reportedly programmed to revere Shirley MacLaine. Warren Beatty, known for his colorful language, studied at the Stella Adler Theater Studio in New York City. Shirley Temple Black. Shirley Temple Black served on Disney's board of directors during the mid-1970s. Her iconic films from the 1940s and 1950s were reportedly used to train and program individuals in body movements and dance. She married Charles A. Black, a lieutenant colonel in the Pentagon who resided in Bethesda, Maryland. There is speculation that Shirley Temple was subjected to early experimental techniques involving brainstem scarring, potentially contributing to her prodigious talent. Her brother reportedly developed multiple sclerosis, which some attribute to similar brainstem scarring. Shirley co-founded the International Federation of Multiple Sclerosis Societies and served on its executive committee. She also represented the United States at the United Nations General Assembly in 1969 and was a member of the Sierra Club. Decorated with the Cross of Malta, she exhibited traits that some interpret as signs of being an Illuminati-controlled child prodigy. Stephen Ballenbach. Stephen Ballenbach was a key figure in Walt Disney management. He was instrumental in orchestrating Disney's $19 billion acquisition of Capital Cities ABC, a company with reported CIA ties, and convincing Michael Eisner of its merits. He later became CEO of Hilton Hotels Corporation and pursued a merger with ITT, aiming to create the world's largest hotel casino enterprise. When the Department of Justice began investigating the Disney Capital Cities ABC merger, Ballenbach resigned from Disney, which many speculate was a strategic move to secure merger approval by avoiding scrutiny of his background in the gambling industry. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a major stockholder in Disney and one of the most influential figures in its financial success. He owns 40% of Berkshire Hathaway Inc., which also holds substantial Disney shares. According to reports, Buffett personally owns 24 million Disney shares. A member of the Akhsar Ben fraternity, Buffett has been linked to allegations of abuse and exploitation tied to the Nebraska savings and loan scandal. Despite his vast wealth and power, some consider him the second richest man in the nation. Buffett remains untouchable in legal and political circles. Buffett's enthusiasm for Disney's merger with Capital Cities ABC is well documented. He reportedly expressed confidence that the merger would significantly increase the value of Disney stock, remarking, "The odds are extremely high that we will have a very large amount of Disney stock." Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali, the renowned and eccentric surrealist artist from Spain, was a friend of Walt Disney. After being exiled from Spain due to General Franco's belief that he was a communist, Dali relocated to America. In 1946, he collaborated with Disney Studios. Known for his unconventional lifestyle and lack of structured work habits, Dali famously stated, "The only difference between me and a madman is that I'm not a madman." The Tommy Dorsey Band. The Tommy Dorsey Band, an iconic musical group, included members associated with mind control slave abuse tied to the network. Frank Sinatra, known as a user of sexual slaves, gained his big break with this band. In 1984, the Tommy Dorsey Band performed at Disneyland's Plaza Gardens. Tommy Dorsey himself was part of the network's inner circle. During a USO tour with Bob Hope, he reportedly stabbed actor Joe Hall and threw him out of a window, an attack that required Hall to receive 32 stitches. Despite the severity of the assault, the case against Dorsey was dismissed by the judge. Michael Damon Eisner. Michael Damon Eisner, chairman of Disney, has been described as both a CIA asset and someone with mob connections. Some insiders suggest he was linked to anti-New World Order factions within these groups, though these factions also utilized mind control. Eisner resisted pressure from the United Nations, the Commerce Department, and the State Department when Red China threatened to boycott Disney products over his decision to support a film about Tibet. which China controls with oppressive force. A notable connection to mind control is Disney's involvement with the Boys and Girls Club of Napa Valley, reportedly a source of children for pedophilia and mind control programs. The children were allegedly used as caddies and subjected to abuse by elite figures at the Silverado Country Club. Celebrities like Pat Boone, Joe DiMaggio, Engelbert Humperdinck, Digger Phelps, and Jack Valenti have attended events at this country club, billed as benefits for the Boys and Girls Club. These events reportedly allowed access to the children for exploitative purposes. Eisner was born on March 7, 1942, in New York, into a family of old American wealth. He grew up on Park Avenue and spent time at the family's country estate in Bedford Hills near Mount Kisco, New York. He attended the elite Allen Stevenson School, known for its children's orchestra, before enrolling at the Lawrenceville School, a preparatory school for Princeton University. Due to poor scholastic performance, Eisner attended a small liberal arts college instead of following family tradition at Princeton or Harvard. His early career included a position as a page at NBC's headquarters in Rockefeller Center. In 1966, Eisner joined ABC's programming department, where he gained influence. His age often aligned with the target demographics for television and film, giving him an advantage in understanding audience preferences. Eisner is noted for his supernatural enthusiasm and a lifelong pursuit of innovative ideas. Rich H. Frank. Rich H. Frank, former executive vice president at Walt Disney, abruptly resigned about a year after Jeffrey Katzenberg's departure, following a dispute with chairman Michael Eisner. Frank had previously served as president of Walt Disney's TV media division. Frank acquired the estate of Van Hoffenwiggen, who fled the country and vanished when Lendvest Mortgage Inc. faced exposure. Lendvest, based in Napa Valley, was a drug laundering and smuggling operation disguised as a real estate mortgage company. It became one of Northern California's fastest-growing mortgage companies until its illicit activities were uncovered. The operation included millions of dollars disappearing, leaving many investors and creditors in financial ruin. Lendvest filed for bankruptcy, but continued operating. The Republic National Bank of New York, a private bank owned by international financier Edmund Safra, reportedly laundered money for the Medellin drug cartel and supplied Lendvest with large sums of cash. The Safra family, with ties to the Rothschilds, allegedly owned property in Napa Valley near Lendvest's headquarters. Edmund Safra's nephew, Jacob Safra, has a partnership in Napa Valley's Good Wine Company, while Rothschild's Citicorp facilitated international transactions that supported Lendvest's operations. The Luxembourg and Belgium branches of Banque Nationale de Paris also issued bearer bonds tied to Lendvest's drug-running activities. Mike Spire and the Lendvest connection. In Britain, U.S. citizen Mike Spire managed the British operations of Lendvest and its parent company, Invest. This organization had a presence in the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Paraguay. Lendvest was reportedly part of an international CIA mafia drug-running operation with Illuminati influences. Given this background, it is peculiar that Rich Frank, then president of Disney's TV media division, purchased the lavish mansion of John O. Van Hoffenwiggen after Van Hoffenwiggen fled the country. His disappearance coincided with the arrests and indictments of individuals linked to Lendvest. Insiders also claim that Rich Frank is among several Napa Valley figures involved in the illegal mislabeling of wines. Rich Frank played a pivotal role in Disney's programming collaboration with three regional Bell telephone companies, Ameritech, Bell South, and SBC Communications. These companies aim to enter the cable television market. Michael Ovitz, another influential figure, led a rival group of three other Bell companies. Additionally, Calvin Robinson, who was connected to Lendvest, worked alongside Boyce, a TRW company employee in Redondo Beach, California. Boyce was sentenced to 40 years in prison for selling U.S. surveillance secrets to the Soviet Union. Daniel Hillis and Imagineering. Daniel Hillis, co-founder of the supercomputer company Thinking Machines at MIT, is a key figure at Walt Disney Imagineering. He played a significant role in developing a virtual reality ride at Disneyland based on the animated film Aladdin. Hillis's expertise in cutting-edge technology underscores Disney's commitment to innovation in entertainment. Jeffrey Katzenberg. Jeffrey Katzenberg, former chairman of Disney's movie studio, is widely recognized for his relentless work ethic and aggressive demeanor. As producer Dan Melnick remarked, "If Jeffrey were any more aggressive, he'd be in jail." Katzenberg's efficiency extends to his personal life, with many joking about his fathering twins as indicative of his trademark drive. During his tenure, Katzenberg oversaw the production of Star Trek and numerous box office successes. In the 1970s, he worked for New York City Mayor John Lindsay, gaining valuable political and organizational experience. His determination has been a defining trait throughout his career. Sanford Martin Litvak. Sanford Martin Litvak serves as Disney's executive vice president and oversees human resources for the corporation. A Jewish lawyer, Litvak was educated at Georgetown University, a Jesuit institution. He also serves on the board of directors for Bet Tzedek, further illustrating his influential role within Disney and beyond. Vincent Price. Vincent Price, renowned for his contributions to occult-themed literature and films, lent his talents to Disney by voicing Ratigan in The Great Mouse Detective. Price's fascination with the macabre aligned with his friendship with John Hay Whitney, a key Illuminati figure and vice president of the Pilgrim Society. Whitney, initiated into the Illuminati through Yale's Scroll and Key fraternity, shared Price's appreciation for horror films. Their collaboration highlights the intersection of occultism and entertainment within Price's career. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in our next video.